Welcome to the Average Company channel. Average Company, average social media, whatever you want to call it. I'm keeping it real here. My name's Esteban. Technically, this is going to be... Technically, it's the first video we're recording. We're here working on my 77 GMC that I just got. I'm going to do a whole intro to the channel, what we're about, all that stuff. So you can go back and watch that. You'll be able to see what we're about here for this channel and this company. And you'll see what else we've got going on, other projects, other companies that we're doing. But I've been working on this for a couple of days now, and I figured, hey, let's start recording. We need content for the channel anyway, and I'll be honest with you, I lose track of what I do. So this is in part content for this channel, and in part content just to keep myself straight, or a diary rather, to keep myself straight. So a little bit about what we're doing. Well, I guess let me back up. The company-wide, channel-wide, it's about an average Joe. Obviously, I'm not Joe, but you get the point, right? About an average guy. You don't need to have any special skill sets or anything to be able to figure things out. That goes for all aspects that I'll get into in more detail, which is going to be technically in the first video. First video of the channel. This is the first video I'm recording. What we're doing today, though, is working on the 77 GMC. We got the 350 Chevy short block in here. Short block? Small block? I've heard it both ways. Anyway, this thing I bought just this last weekend. By the way, today is Thursday, January 19th, I believe. Something like that. I bought this back on Saturday. Tried to drive it home. Pretty sure I vapor locked it. Ran out of oil. Ran hot. I was being stupid. It was in 4 low. The guy I bought it from had it in 4 low. Said run it in 4 low to get to the highway, which I did. And a funny thing, if we get to the inside of this, and there will be another video, is that this truck doesn't have a tachometer in it, so I couldn't see what the RPMs were. And I'm used to manual transmissions. I had a 2001 Subaru Outback that I rolled around in for a while, and then a 2012 Dodge Dart 6-speed that I rolled around in for a minute. I'm not used to carbureted engines though, and so that was something new to me. Long story short is that I messed something up here. So what I'm doing today is trying to make sure the engine's not seized. I got in last night, pulled the spark plugs out. That's a whole nother discussion, which is pretty cool. Those spark plugs are pretty crazy. Spark plug 2 specifically, out of cylinder 2, is super built up. Tons of carb in there. Spark plug 1 was pretty loose, which I thought was interesting, pulling it out. The rest of them were fine. No major buildup, and then they were in there pretty good as far as the tightness goes. So I shot a shitload of PB Blaster in there last night just to make sure we got some oil in there, and then I've got some oil with me as well. We're about ready to check the dipstick here, see how much oil we got in there actually, and we'll go from there. And then I pulled the fan off today, and the shroud for the fan earlier today, which was a process and a half. Really wasn't that terrible actually, but getting my hand in here to get these bolts out to get that fan loose was a little tight. Luckily I'm not a very big dude. But besides that, this engine bay is awesome. Tons of room here. I'm new to that. I'm used to working on newer vehicles with less room. But yeah, I'm excited to work on this 350. You'll be here along for the ride and slowly watch me lose my sanity. So yeah, we'll go from there. Oil next. And I'm sure I'll do some magic and crazy editing in you know, post-production here, I guess. And who knows if we'll actually see this part. But we're here anyway. Let's do it. All right. And it's cold. It's cold today. It snowed, dumped on us today, which was awesome. Wasn't expecting that. I'm up here in Boise, good old Boise, Idaho, and yeah, it was a surprise. Okay, let's wipe that off. Now, when I bought this, the guy said he had just had the oil changed. He changed it himself. Didn't see too much loss there. It's pretty dirty though. Let's build up all of the engine, though. We'll get a better shot of it later on. But I did find a quart of new oil in the cab, which was kind of cool. So I added that in. I don't know if you can tell, though, but she's low, for sure. For sure she's low. So that's not good. Pretty sure the engine seized a little bit. I was trying to crank her over. Threw some gas in the carburetor here, which is why the air filter housing is off. Threw some gas in there. Didn't really get a good reading that first time. It was hardly anything. Yeah, we definitely need to add quite a bit. Yeah, pretty sure it lost a lot of oil, burnt off, seized on me a little bit. I could turn the crank with a screwdriver, but I didn't want to turn it too far and risk anything there. But yeah, let's throw some oil in her. Oh, and then the other thing is I got to check the fuel pump that's down here. Now what I want to do is, I don't know how much you can see from here. I know you can see this. I don't know if you can see the carburetor. It's over here. I'll get a better shot of it later on. But what I want to do is pull the fuel line into the carb, get a battery in here. The battery died, which is another great thing. Get a battery in, and then pull the wire to the distributor and see how much fuel we spit out of the fuel pump. I'm suspect of that fuel pump because we got it to run for a minute and then it would die on us. So we'll go from there. Excuse my sniffles. It's cold, like I said, and it dumped some snow on us today, which we were not. I was not expecting. All right, oil. Let's do that. W30. Don't know if that's what. I mean, that's what I found in the cabs. Research I've done online, 5W30 looks okay for this. Usually I've run like a mobile one, like in my F-150. I run a mobile one with a K9 filter, probably overkill. This is what we're running today. Cheap. We'll be doing a full oil change eventually. I just want to get her running. Get it to where it's at least turning the crank and driving under its own power. We had to tow it back. Which was new to me as well and was fun. We'll go get a knife, crack this guy open, and we'll top off the oil. Give me a sec. Okay, well, my Leatherman's inside. You get a screwdriver instead. Just as good. It'll do the job. Let her wobble. For those of you who watch Andy's Little Homestead, that's a little salute to you, my man. Get this foil all out of here. Okay. Alrighty. Get my gloves on. It's a little chilly. Don't do much, but hey, at least it's not bare skin on cold metal. Drop that guy. Funnel in there. Okay. Boy, I gotta say, again, I know I said it already, but man, working in this nice big engine bay, I'm not a very big guy. Boy, I do appreciate this. Should grab the rag. I am wearing some shitty old clothes. Don't really want to make a mess if I don't have to. As I say, as I drop the 5 quarts of oil here. I should probably look up and see the capacity of oil for this thing. I don't know what it is actually. I might break away and do that here for a quick second. If it's slow, I mean, I'm gonna guess this thing probably needs close to this whole 5 quarts. Let's do that real quick, actually. Let's set that up. Now, another interesting thing. AutoZone, whatever their catalog system is, doesn't seem to like my 77 Chevy here, or GMC. So I put that in there. This is the 3/4 time. Put that in their system. I was looking to get a new distributor, which I bought and brought with me. So I thought that might be suspect when we went to try to drive it home. We're a couple hours away. Wrong distributor. Same thing for the air filter. Didn't have an air filter, which was interesting. So I went and bought an air filter. It was the wrong air filter. Didn't fit this either. So I got to figure out something to why that's the case. Haven't figured it out yet, but I don't know. Hopefully I don't need to get too many parts like that. 50 Chevy, small block, oil, capacity. Okay. 5-quart oil pan. Modified models of 350 can take up to 6 quarts of oil. So 5 quarts is what it says. So yeah, let's keep an eye on her. Turn my music back on. Otherwise, it's just quiet out here. But yeah, let's do the better part of 5 quarts. Then we'll go from there. So I don't expect there to be a ton of people watching this, especially now in the beginning. Again, this is more about documenting this process, just for me. And if we get people who are interested along the way, or can help me learn this, I know enough about engines to scooch along, but I'm no expert by any means, and that's the point. That's the point of the average company. But my point being is that we're going to learn as we go. Right? I don't know anything about this. That's the point of this channel. Figure it out as we go. We don't have to be experts. And it's going to be documenting that process, right? Whether it's working on engines, building a business, you know, overall being successful in whatever we decide to do. That's the point. Just here to document it. If we pick up people along the way, cool. If not, no biggie. I want to be there to show that it's possible. And give one method of coming back to, or one method that people can come back to and see how it can be done. This is just super slow coming out of this funnel. I'm going to be here for a minute. I might have to sit down and get a little comfortable. But yeah, boy, did this burn off a lot of oil. I was running this thing way hot, which, again, goes back to not knowing, which bit me in the ass in this case, which is great. No big deal though. We'll get it figured out. Where I was going with that is that it was interesting because the carburetor was boiling gas when I topped it off, because the fuel pump was suspect. The guy I bought it from, once it puttered out on me in his driveway, actually, he's like, okay, let's put gas in the carburetor. You weren't running it long enough to run fuel up there. Which I was like, that's interesting. Not sure that's how that works, because it's a mechanical fuel pump, by the way. So I was like, okay, we'll do that. Then I got stuck on the side of the road after it puttered out on me. So my dad and my brother were there, thankfully, and they went in the car we drove there in. Bought me a gas can and some gas. We tried that. The engine was hot though, super hot, and the fuel was boiling off in the carburetor, which, not knowing any better, we just kept trying to crank it over, and then eventually the battery died and we just couldn't crank it over anymore. So shoulda, woulda, coulda there. But what's also strange, I'll give that a minute to die down. What's also strange is that there was a small fire that started behind the carburetor. Now there is a vacuum line that comes out of the valve cover. That I'm told, in the research I've seen, is supposed to go back to the air filter for emissions. And that happened to be pointing in the same direction as where the fire was. It's behind the distributor, right by the firewall, if you can call it that in these old things. Again, don't know much about this. But I'm not quite sure what caused that. We're suspect of the distributor, so I went and bought another one, which again was wrong size, as per AutoZone's catalog. And I was going to put it in, pulled it off last night, and I was looking at the existing distributor. It looks newer. It's definitely newer than, it's not the original. And didn't really see anything wrong with it. Again, I don't really know what I'm looking for at this point, but I didn't see any cracks, didn't see any split wires or burnt wires or any leads that were exposed by any means, so it looked okay. I'm still examining it, but not quite sure what would have caused the fire back there. If anybody knows, that'd be great. Again, it's 2023 right now, January 2023. So if you're watching this down the road, and you know the answer, well, might be too little too late at that point. I'll put a statute of limitation on that question. I'm sure I will find the answer to it eventually. You know, Google knows all. Usually. Okay, we're about 2.5 quarts down. Gonna get this on camera here, I'm assuming. 5 quarts. So let's take a check. Dipstick here. See what we got. Needs a little bit to settle, I would imagine. But it's looking better, actually. Looking cleaner too. Boy, I don't know if you changed this oil, to be honest with you. That was looking real dirty in there. I really should be on that other side of the engine to do this. Let's do this right. Let's see. All right. If you see the safety pins in my pants, that's because I bought pants that were too long. Couldn't return them, so I'm like, all right, I'll use them for, they were going to be work pants anyway. So I just decided to pin them for now. I can sew. I'll sew them up later. Yeah, we still need to add some more of it. Still low, but we're getting there. And I shot probably metrics shit ton with the PB blaster in there. Just another note on that one. The PB blaster didn't come with a little straw, so I had to go steal one off my brake clean, run some PB through it, make sure it didn't have the. It probably evaporated off by then, but I haven't used that in months. But I still had to go grab that little straw so I could shoot it straight into the spark plug holes, which was more than just a little annoying. Really, it's my own damn fault, because there I was at the store picking it up, and there was a bigger PB blaster, more in it, so, you know, I did the math, actually. I'm an engineer, by the way, for my day job. So, of course, I did the math. I got more ounces per dollar, right, in the bigger one, go figure, than in the smaller one. But the smaller one's one of those fancy ones that has the straw attached, but you can flip it down and it just turns into like a normal spray, you know, like I have that on my WD-40 dry lube spray. But I'm like, yeah, why would I go with the smaller one? It doesn't give me as much PB blaster, right? I want the big one. Well, I regretted that decision when I was down in here under the engine last night. Not under the engine, but here under the hood last night, trying to, you know, get some PB blaster up in there so I can make sure to turn this crank. Make sure she's not stuck. The reason why I think she's stuck is that I was trying to get her turned over. I put some fuel here in the carburetor, and I would turn it, it would crank over a little bit, would start fighting against me, start whining a little bit, and then it, boom, stopped all of a sudden. And I'm like shit. That's great. So yeah, check the oil. Oil's not great. Good news is I was planning on redoing this engine anyway. That's in the long-term plan for this truck. How exactly I'm going to do that and what that's going to look like and the exact parts and components and all that stuff, don't know yet. But I know that I'm going to redo the engine. I've got a cherry picker. I'll pull the engine out, redo her. That's always been a dream of mine. A goal of mine is to redo an engine from scratch and really have a project truck, project car in general. So having this is great. And for the price, I paid $1,250 for this thing. I'm not complaining, not at all. Even though I had to go tow it, and that was expensive, and I had to borrow a buddy's truck to do that. My F-150 couldn't do that. Well, it could, but it wouldn't be good. Still worth it, I think. You know, it's a learning experience. Not too bad of a prize for a learning experience, and then again, it's in the overall goal to rebuild this engine anyway. I'm just super happy I got the 3/4 ton in this truck with 350 in it. When I first looked at it and I was messaging the guy, didn't have the VIN, didn't have any of the details. Outside of it's a truck, it's got a plow on it, right? And it's a 77 GMC. That's all I knew. So I was like, well, I'm still interested. And I had assumed they had the 305 in it. Just because why would it have a 350 in it? That's not my luck. So decided to pull the trigger on it, go look at it. It's 2.5 hours away over in Fairfield. 2 to 2.5 hours away. That's even better. And he sends me the VIN the night before. I'm going to go take a look at it. I look up the VIN. Doesn't pull up in a normal VIN registry, of course, mind you. I had to go find one from the 70s. I would pull this one up. Lo and behold, 3/4 ton with either a diesel, which of course I knew it wasn't, with a 350 in it, which was awesome. Awesome. I was super stoked at that point. Man, I'm still not getting a good reading out of this, man. I'll let it sit for a minute. It's cold out too. We're learning, folks. We're learning, boys and girls. And I'm keeping it real with you here. We're living in the age of influencers and, you know, all that mumbo jumbo. I ain't one of those guys or gals. I'm giving it to you as I know and as I see, and here's what it is. I'll do a little editing here and there and cut out some of my nonsense, I suppose, and then of course if I start talking too much crap, I'll probably pull that out. You'll see. You'll see once we start digging into there. I can get about certain things. You'll hear some colorful language. Anyway, let that oil sit for a minute. Let me find the socket that goes on that harmonic balancer. That way we can turn this crank and make sure she's not stuck. And I'll get the TV blaster here in a second as well. All right. One hand is a tape measure. One hand is, I don't know, what is this saying? That's not huge. What is that saying? Oh, one eye is a level, one eye is a tape measure. Same thing for my hand in this case, I guess. I gotta try to figure out what socket this is. It's dark out, can't see. Okay. Let's see. Lost my extensions to my normal socket set, so I'm using my impact socket set because I don't know where those extensions went. That was a metric. So I'm going to use my impact because I know I have extensions in that one. This one I try to put back as best I can. I just have a short extension on my standard non-impact set. This one's too small. This one is 9/16. Okay. I don't know if you can see me over here. Hello, though. I don't think I've actually had my face on the camera yet. Can't really tell. Again, like I said, we're keeping it real. What you see is what you get. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'll show you my janky setup for recording here. It involves an old phone, a camera mount that I thought was supposed to fit on a tripod. Turns out it doesn't. And then some random bolt that I found in my spare parts bin, so I could kind of ankle you up over there on the spring that lifts the hood up. So yeah, that's what we've got. That's what we're working with. Found it though. I also don't have one of those fancy breaker bars. That's just a socket or a wrench. So I've got my half-inch socket, right, for my impact set. Well, hello? Oh, that's the wrong side. Helps if you put it in, the extension side, not the socket side. So I've got that. And I've got an old piece of pipe. That's my breaker bar. That's what it is, Get some of these screws out of the way. Probably got enough oil in there now. Again, I shot PB Blaster in there last night. I'll shoot some more in there here in a sec. Just want to see how bad this is. I do appreciate having this plow here so I can stand on it. Oh yeah, no, she's easy to turn. Okay. We found the end range there. Let's go the other way. Don't need that breaker bar after all. I'll shoot some more PB in there here in a second. There's some in there. Let's go this way. And go down. Okay, we found that end range of motion. Okay, she's good there. Okay, this is pulling off. This pulley. I'm loosening the bolt here on this pulley. I'm gonna have to pull these pulleys off, unfortunately. So, starter does tension it. Here in this case. Didn't really want to have to do that. Here's the bolt for the starter. Tensioner. So, that's great. Yeah, didn't really want to have to do that. I don't think this is... I'm not actually turning the harmonic bouncer, looks like. I'm just turning the pulley extension that goes to the harmonic bouncer. And there's multiple bolts there. I can see it now down in there. Let's do this. I'm going to shoot... See if we can get around this. And for those of y'all who know this is a bad idea, or are thinking this is a bad idea, just to go one direction with it, yeah, you're probably right. I should probably work that crank back and forth, but that PB Blaster's been eating away at that throughout the last night. Let me go get some more of that. We'll be alright. It's not that stuck. We'll be fine. A little brisk out here. Little brisk. Let's close back on. Let's throw this bolt out of the way here. that on. And let's get this on. Okay. Did I say bolt? I meant pipe. You're probably thinking, what is this guy talking about? Does he know anything? That's a fair question. I'm trying to figure that out myself. I think the answer is no, not really. Like I said, I'm an engineer, but sometimes I surprise myself. Some of the questions that I'm asking myself. But, okay. There we go. Okay. Trying to catch my hat on fire here with this lamp. It's one of the old school ones. Gets pretty hot. I don't have one of those fancy LED ones. Alright. Come on. Come on. I just can't see the hole here. I think yesterday I was where that lamp is. But we're alright. We got it in there. Okay, there's the even cylinders. Hello. Okay. I got that big old lamp on that side. This side, it's got my dinky little free light from Harbor Freight. But it'll do. Oh, let's definitely. Let's do this. There's oil in there now. Okay. Where'd my free light go? Okay. All right. Okay, one. Should probably take my necklace off. At least there's no rotating machinery. Oh boy. How did I get back in there yesterday? Okay. Okay, there's 7. And 8. Alright. She's PV blasted. Oh, don't do that. I was pushing on my heater core hoses. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. Woo! That was fun. Alright. Now let's see if we can just crank this one direction.